All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media. My name is Zach. Today we're doing another live stream where we will be playing College Football 26 and we'll be talking some real-life college football Week 1 matchups. Today we will be talking about the LSU Tigers going to visit Clemson Week 1. It's a battle of who has the real Death Valley. It's going to be really exciting, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I believe this is a night games, or at least we'll play it as a night game.
Welcome to a long-awaited showdown. You don't have to be a fan of either team to appreciate the matchup of these two.
I'm really glad they added this tradition into the game of having the players get off the bus. I remember, especially back in like the Jameis Winston Florida State days, that was always so exciting to see in the big Florida State Clemson matchups back in the day. All the players get in the buses and then they drive around the stadium one time and then they run down the hill, and it's a really cool tradition. Mike the Tiger looking good there. All right, before we get into the game, I'll just go over some key players for both teams. Obviously, for Clemson, starts with Cade Klubnik. Very much a Heisman favorite. It's taken him a couple of years, but I think last year he really took a massive leap forward, and I could absolutely see him taking another big leap forward this year. I think he's absolutely in the Heisman race. The running back position for Clemson is going to be a little bit interesting. As you can see on this depth chart, the top two guys are a sophomore and a freshman. Now, Clemson isn't afraid to run a freshman at running back, and they've had great success there with guys like Will Shipley, Travis Etienne. So I'm not super concerned about it, but it is... I'm going to give it a half a question mark. It's not an entire question mark, but it's about a half a question mark. They have some great guys out on the edge that we saw last year, Antonio Williams and Brian Wesco Jr., even TJ Moore. I love these guys. They're super entertaining to watch, and I think they're finally getting back to that wide receiver core that we used to see back in the day with T. Higgins and all the other NFL wide receivers that Clemson produced back in the Trevor Lawrence days. And let's see. I think this Clemson offensive line will be much better than we have seen. And I think that's kind of, for me, the biggest differentiating factor, and why I think Clemson will be back on top of the sport again this year, and a real championship contender, is because I think their offensive line is finally good enough to actually compete in this new NIL transfer portal era. And then this defense is absolutely stacked. You have TJ Parker, you have, and then on the interior, you have Peter Woods, two of the best defensive linemen in the entire country. Absolutely terrifying. They dominated offensive lines last year. And obviously that's a nice complementary piece of having a dominant interior presence like Peter Woods, and then having a guy as elite as TJ Parker, both as a pass rusher and in the run game. Let's see. And then Avion Terrell, obviously the little brother of A.J. Terrell, who also played at Clemson and now is a star cornerback for the Atlanta Falcons. They just have some elite defensive pieces, and I think this defense will be even better than they were last year. And they were already pretty elite last year, so I think this Clemson defense, again, is another reason why I think the Tigers are very serious championship contenders, and they also have a lot of experience. So I think they're going to get off to a hot start and fast. I don't think there's going to be this, couple of weeks of getting used to each other. I think this team really from week 1, I think will be playing at a top tier level. And then let's see, anyone else I missed? No. Okay. And then now I will jump over to the other Tigers. So starts with Garrett Nussmeier. He's a very good quarterback. If you've seen other videos on my channel, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of Garrett Nussmeier. Well, that's not correct. I like Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's a very good college quarterback. Do I think he should be the leader for the Heisman Trophy? No. I think there are other people who are more in that Heisman category. I think Garrett Nussmeier is absolutely good enough to lead a team to a national championship. I don't see this number one NFL overall draft pick potential. I think he's just a very solid quarterback who's going to have some elite weapons. I think he has a lot of experience. I think he's very smart. I think he has a high football IQ because of his dad and being a coach. As of right now, I don't see him in the same category as guys like Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, even Lamar Jackson as a Heisman winner. Those guys had the ability to take over a game, and I just have yet to see that from Garrett Nussmeier personally. I think he has some very good traits, but as of right now, I don't see this number one NFL overall draft pick potential or even Heisman potential. I think guys like Lenore Sellers, I think guys like Arch Manning, I think guys like Cade Klubnik on the other side of this game, I just think they're much more in that Heisman build. But who knows? Maybe he'll take a step forward this offseason and he'll prove me wrong. Caden Durham obviously was a very good last year, I believe, as a redshirt freshman. The LSU Tigers will always have a good running back, and this is a very key part of their offense. And I think Caden Durham is very quintessential LSU running back. I really like their wide receiver core. It's much improved from last year. You have Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, and Barian Brown. Barian Brown transferring from Kentucky. He's going to be that gadget wide receiver, very fast. He's going to be on punt returns and kick returns. Elite speed. You just want to get the ball in his hands in open space. And then they also have Aaron Anderson, who was on the team last year and had a very productive year last year for the LSU Tigers. And then Nick Anderson is from a transfer from Oklahoma. Big guy, 6'4", 210. I think all three of these guys are really complementary pieces to each other. So I really like how these, and even Xavion Thomas, I think all of these guys, and Chris Hilton Jr., they're very deep at the wide receiver position. And I think they'll complement each other really well. Obviously, they gave Barian Brown 99 speed, just kind of telling you that the type of player he is. Let's see. I think the biggest question mark for the LSU Tigers on offense is going to be their offensive line. I think they can be productive, and I think they can be solid, but they just lost a lot of production. I mean, look at least the game has them starting one freshman, a sophomore, another sophomore, so 4 sophomores and 1 senior, at least projected in a video game. Just losing guys like Will Campbell, they lost so much production. That has to be a question mark going into the season, especially getting the first game of the season being against such a dominant defensive line. I'm a little concerned about that. And then again, they got another great transfer portal piece in Jack Pyburn from the University of Florida. I think an 80 overall is way too low for him. He was a great piece of that Florida Gators defense, especially down the stretch last year, leading the Gators to wins over LSU Tigers, the Ole Miss Rebels, and Florida State. He was a very key piece of that kind of Florida Gators run to end the season. So he's a great piece. I really like this addition by the LSU Tigers. They brought in Patrick Payton from Florida State. And again, I think because of Florida State's kind of woes last year, I think a lot of people aren't giving Patrick Payton enough credit. He absolutely, I think, has first round edge rusher potential come next April. And again, I think the Tigers saw their weaknesses last year and they realized they need to invest in their defense. And that's exactly what they did, going to get Jack Pyburn and going to get Patrick Payton. Let's see. And then you have Weeks. I believe there's now 3 Weeks brothers in Baton Rouge. Very entertaining group of brothers. Obviously, Whit Weeks was a very important part of that Tigers defense last year. While they did struggle, he was obviously the brightest spot probably on that defense once Harold Perkins went down. So it's going to be great to hopefully see that Tigers defense be healthy this year. If they do, they have the potential to be very good. But again, it's all going to be very reliant on if the team can stay healthy, which they've kind of struggled with over the last few years. And then obviously we have Harold Perkins Jr. here. former 5-star. He was a high school running back as well as linebacker. They're moving him to a position that he's more comfortable with. Right now, the game lists him at will, but he's going to be more of that star, really float him all over the field. He's going to rush the passer. He's going to drop back into coverage. He's going to cover some tight ends and maybe some slot wide receivers. He's just an elite athlete, obviously, given that he was such a dominant running back and linebacker in high school. I believe he went down with some leg injury last year, which kept him out most of the year. And then also they tried to put him into an unnatural position. I believe they tried to play him at the edge rusher position when really he's more of a star. He needs to be floated all over the field. Really just put him in more of a position to succeed. I think he's a phenomenal player. I really like Harold Perkins, and I think he could prove a lot of people wrong this year, being put into more of a position to succeed. Then they brought in Mansour Delane at the cornerback position from Virginia Tech. Again, he's played a lot of football, and I think this is another amazing transfer portal addition by the LSU Tigers on defense. Very physical guy, very smart guy, very high football IQ. And I think that's going to be a great addition to this Tigers defense, as well as with all their defensive line additions. Cool. All right. Now with that, we will hop into the game. I think, yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And I'll be playing as the Clemson Tigers. I have a family member who went to the University of Clemson, or I'm sorry, Clemson University. And so this is for him. This is for you, Mr. Ken.
And all eyes, Kirk, in this matchup of elite wide receivers. They got great skill. They got big personalities. You know they want to outdo each other.
Yeah, between these two teams, I think they have at least 5 wide receivers that are legitimate NFL talents. With Bryant Wesco, both of the Andersons on LSU. Just loaded wide receiver talent on both sides of the ball.
It's pretty simple as a defensive coordinator. When the quarterback drops back to throw, if we get pressure on him, we got a chance to slow him down and win the football game. If we don't, could be a long afternoon. Good job here by dialing up the pressure.
Caught in the backfield. It's Anderson.
I'm really excited for Clemson. I think they'll be back to where they were back in the 2018 to 2016 timeframe with just a dominant defense. I love Cade Klubnik. Obviously, I think he's a really entertaining player to watch. He's a very smart player. I really want Clemson to be back on top of the sport. I think they kind of struggled early on in the transfer portal era, but I think Dabo Swinney has finally done a better job of actually adapting.
Looks right for a quick completion.
Oops.
Here he goes. They stop him, but this offense is threatening now at the plus 43.
Chris, we're still early in this game, and you can already sense the chemistry between.
I'm going to bring some pressure now with the Tigers. I think being aggressive is a very quintessential part of playing Clemson football. So I'm going to go ahead and bring a blitz here as they run another RPO. I think in the RPO setting in real life, I think that would actually be Berrien Brown, just because, again, you really want to get that guy in open space. And if we looked on that last play, I believe it was 2-on-2, so that would have been a great matchup for Berrien Browning to make one guy miss and go off to the races.
They didn't give him any lanes, so not much yards downfield for the receiver.
Obviously, this is a video game, but I think in real life, I think the Tigers, especially being on the road, the LSU Tigers, are going to want to run the ball a little bit more, try to quiet the crowd. I don't think they really want Garrett Nussmeier to have to just drop back and pass, 30 times this game.
This guy can do it all. We've seen him go.
Yeah, like Kirk Herbstreit is saying, Berrien Browning really has the potential to make one guy miss and then go off to the races. I think a lot of people don't really know about him because he played at Kentucky. And Kentucky over the last couple of years haven't been the same team we've seen over the last decade. But Berrien Browning is very much in that Elijah Moore, just a very dominant slot wide receiver, just dominant with, you just want to get the ball in his hands.
This is what we've been looking forward to, a matchup of two quarterbacks who are elite
So for the offensive game plan for the Clemson Tigers, I think it's a little bit harder to predict because I don't know how they're feeling about their running back situation. Like I said, Dabo's not afraid to trust a young running back. But obviously this is a big game with big playoff implications. And I think the argument can be made that this game is way more important for the Clemson Tigers than it is for the LSU Tigers, just given the strength of the SEC relative to the ACC.
Chris, that's on the offensive line right there. They definitely have to be feeling responsible because it's almost like you didn't protect your little brother back there.
Oh my goodness.
Well, a real shot here to answer that opening drive score with one of your own, but the sack here on third down now really hurts your momentum. What decision do you come up with here on fourth down after giving up that sack?
And here's the fair catch by the return man.
This is only the third game I've played on the College Football 26, and I really like I think they did a much better job of making the play calls more realistic. Obviously, you've seen I'm using coach suggestions, but they're being very aggressive here, which I think actually reflects a lot of what Dabo wants to run, especially with the pieces they have on defense. That's another thing I didn't touch on with Caden Durham. He's very good catching the ball out of the backfield.
LSU now operating in the red zone. Off the play fake, looking to throw on first down. Looking right, this one caught. Brought down at the 5 after the completion. Defense getting pushed back. The offense sets up in scoring position with a new set of downs. Caught behind the line. It's Anderson. Down at the 2 after the catch. The offense close to punching it in. It's a second and goal.
I think in real life, I think they'd be looking for Nick Anderson down here, just being a big body receiver. I would love to see a one-on-one fade, especially since I'm assuming they'd probably put Avion Terrell on him, and Nick Anderson would have the height advantage there. Great stop for the Clemson Tigers. They're going to go for it on fourth.
So instead of a chip shot attempt for a 2-score lead, they keep the offense on the field to go for it on fourth down. On the ground, trying to punch it in for the score. He's not going to get there. The defense rises up and makes it.
I think another important thing to discuss here is I believe the LSU Tigers haven't won. Yeah, they haven't won an opening game of the season since the 2019 season. Whenever Joe Burrow was there. So I know Brian Kelly has made it a very key part of this offseason. He really wants to win this game, which obviously any coach wants to win every game. But I think I think he's put extra emphasis on this game. So we'll see. It's going to be really tough, obviously, going on the road, playing in one of the toughest environments in college football. But we'll Man, this Tigers defense is really good. Obviously, Harold Perkins there. He's just a great athlete. It's just move him all over the field and just let him go to work.
He finds some space.
I don't love playing man because I think the LSU Tigers are actually one of the teams that can take advantage of playing man against the Clemson defense. I think for most of the Clemson schedule, I think they'll be able to get away with playing man, but I don't know if I would play too much man against the LSU Tigers.
Offense operating at high tempo now, no huddle.
Chris, is it possible to be DBU and wide receiver U at the same time? I think the LSU fans think it's possible. They always seem to have great defensive backs, and they always have pass catchers that just show up and show out week after week, year after year.
He'll hand it off. He breaks free.
Man, they improved the AI so much, and it makes the game so much more fun. I feel like for years in EA college football or football games, you would have these elite playmakers, and they would just never juke. They would never hit a spin move, and they just kind of made the game less fun because it obviously wasn't that much of a challenge, which obviously you guys can see this is more challenging. But
It's LSU on top as we take a break for the quarter. And at the end of the first quarter, let's check out the stats so far.
oof, ugly first quarter on my part. A few minutes ago in the game, I'm not sure if you guys could hear, but Kirk Herbstreit was talking about the concept of LSU being possibly DBU and wide receiver U. I agree they have produced a lot of elite wide receivers over the last 15, 20 years. However, it's really hard to argue with Ohio State being wide receiver U just because they've been doing it forever. I mean, you go back to Chris Carter, and then obviously in recent years with Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think, in my opinion, they're very solidly wide receiver U. I think DBU is more debatable.
But the continuity of this offensive line was on display, and that's the reason he was able to get into the end zone.
The extra point is good, and they stretch the lead a little bit more. So after putting up the touchdown, the kickoff team is out there to boot it away. He thought about returning it, but instead takes it.
All right, so I'm going to go for more quick hitting stuff just because I think, obviously, this pass rush is killing me right now. So, okay, I like the RPO. Perfect, 4 yards. Great first down. I don't love a play action yet. I think I'm going to try to hit this motion mesh post. I like having the option of having this mesh concept shallow in case they get pressure early. I think that's what I'm going to read first because I think it's going to be cover 3. Unless this motion guy can get open. Nope. They bring pressure. Bryant Wesco Jr., Mansour Delane on the tackle. Let's see. I think I'm actually going to audible out of this. I think I'm going to try to run it. Yeah, halfback ISO. I like the numbers there. So now let's run the ball there. Oh. I could have gotten a little bit better block from my fullback, but that's okay. And don't like a play action yet. Motion fullback cross screen. I don't hate the concept of a screen here. Let's try this mesh halfback corner. These that post route by the running back out of the backfield is really good in this game. And that big post by Williams may be open here. Nope, they audible out of it, and they're not audible out of it. They rotated out of it. Yeah, I'm going to try to run the ball here because I don't hate the idea of going for it on 4th. Yeah, I need to go for this. I can't let them get the ball back. Looks like it's the same play as last time, which I believe was just kind of a zero blitz. So now the game's not liking. I don't hate the concept of a play action here. I just don't like any of the options it's giving me. This play action white cross I like. I think Brian Wesco may be open here. I don't know if it's actually going to be cover 2, which is what they're showing. So I'm probably going to go Wesco Jr. to Williams and then probably a check down. Yeah, check down. Let's see.
Getting set. Here's second down. It's the 2-minute timeout. The this offense running out of time to cut into this lead before the break.
There it is. Okay. I like a slip screen here.
This is the 7th play now in this drive. To throw, it's Klubnik. Running back has it on a screen now.
There it is. Solid pickup. I'm not going to run hurry up because I really don't want to give them the ball back if possible. Man, I love that crossing route by Bettenker there. That just the red route that's just a crosser.
Out of the gun now on 3rd down. Catch made on the out route.
I think I'm going to go for this too. I think we really need.
With the out route, quarterback's comfortable with that. I would have loved to see the receiver take that route a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I agree. You run that route just beyond the sticks. Ooh, dang it. Good job, Harold Perkins. Again, there's that dominant athleticism by Harold Perkins. I think it's, oh, nope, it's not. Ooh, love that motion. Motion puts so much stress on the defense, and I just love the kind of cutback that it did there.
It's nice execution to pick up the first down. Curl route, Kirk, against the zone.
Now, when you play zone coverage like this, it's very difficult to defend this route. If the quarterback does a nice job of reading.
Oh man, great job getting that ball in there. Jeez, I really thought I had that. Great throw by Nussmeier there.
Then he made a great throw for that first down.
Great start for the drive. Back-to-back explosive plays, and now another first down. Grab down the middle.
Nice little stick concept.
They make the stop, but not before a solid gain that time.
Good job of
I'm going to bring a blitz here because I really kind of need to start generating some big plays. There it is. I'll take that.
Anytime you see that kind of pressure, those extra bodies are starting to come after the quarterback. Quarterback's going to turn and get the ball out of his hands quickly. This time to the tight end for the first down.
Caught in the backfield. It's Brown. 6-yard gain sets up a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, I'll let them call a timeout. Obviously, ideally would love to keep them to a field goal here. I'm going to go ahead and pinch the defensive line. I don't think that's what happened. Yeah, there it is.
Making a nice accurate throw to one of his top targets.
Peter Woods is athletic enough in real life to make that play. Like, he's a freak. Has been since he was, well, honestly, coming out of high school. But just has consistently produced over his Clemson career. And it's going to be a very high draft pick come next April. Like, he wasn't ranked as highly coming out of high school as Brian Brzee, which I think he was still a top 5 overall recruit. But I think he has the potential to be a little bit better because so far he's proven to stay a little bit more healthy than Brian Brzee did, even while at Clemson. Let's do this motion Y cross. I would love to pick up a score here before the half, but I really don't want to. Gonna get out of bounds, save a timeout. Let's go. Let's go spot and go. I hope my offensive line can give me enough time here to run this, and maybe I'll put Williams Wesco on a go route here. That way, if it's zone, should make Williams open. Yeah, he'll be open. No. I am glad they added that in the game, though, because again, that's a very realistic play that could actually happen. So that was lacking in previous games for sure.
That's a good job here, staying ahead of the chains.
Let's see. I think I'm actually going to switch to a different formation. Go nickel, but I like a 3. Let's see. I like this 3-3 mint with only 3 down linemen because I really don't want to give up a score here. Jeez, great play. What play was that? Bench switch. Huh. Cool play.
So on first down, the field goal unit will come out there trying to get 3 points before the half. What a kick. It's good from 55.
Boy, this guy has such a strong leg. No problem. Up into the net from 50 plus.
So here's the kickoff now. Offense settling for 3, tacking on a little bit of momentum before the halftime break. They'll return it from inside the 5. Tackled at the 22. Good job by the coverage team. So they'll just take a knee here, and that will send us to halftime. Minutes going to wrap up the first half here. Let's kick it down to Kevin Connors with our halftime update.
Fellas, yeoman's work so far in Death Valley, and welcome into the halftime report. And how do we
I think in real life, I think this game will be probably, I think it's probably the best. It's a toss-up between this being the best game and Texas going to Ohio State being the best game. I think the safer bet for it to be a better game is probably this one, just because the teams are more experienced. I think overall there's a lot less question marks than there is in the Texas-Ohio State game. Really here it's going to be, can Clemson run the ball effectively against this LSU Tigers defense? And then just how good is this LSU Tigers defense going to be? I think this, I don't think it's going to be a super high scoring game, but I could definitely see it being a 28-21 kind of game. I don't know if it's going to be a shootout, just because I don't think either one of these teams really wants it to be a 42-40 game, but although I think both of these teams have potential to play in and succeed in games like that, especially being week 1. I don't know if this is going to turn into an absolute offensive shootout. I think it will be a little bit of a defensive grind early on.
Well, they keep trying to run the football, and they keep getting dominated at the line of scrimmage. That has been a theme throughout this entire.
I know jet touch pass in this game. I know out of one formation it really doesn't work. I'm hoping it's not this formation. And I just can't get anything. Yeah, I'm gonna have to punt it here.
And the Tigers bring their punt team onto the field, and he'll kick it away now for the second time. This will be fair caught at the 30.
Right.
And here comes that LSU offense back.
Let's do cover 3 Buzz Maple.
The first play of the drive. They're set up at the 31. On first and 10 here, we're going to throw the ball.
Tight window. Good job, Garrett Nussmeier.
Tackle made to the 31. That's a nice gain, getting closer to midfield. Offense keeps moving. It's a completion for a first down. Here's the snap. Quarterback drops back. Over the middle. It's sharp. To get him down quickly, not much of a gain on that completion. That completion makes it second and medium. Here's the snap. Quarterback looking to throw. Grab down the middle. It's Anderson.
Again, Nick Anderson's such a big body receiver. That's a very realistic play for him to absorb the contact and make a great catch.
Getting set with a first and 10 coming up. Dropping back. It's Nussmeier. Caught over the middle. It's Brown. They bring him down, but that gain moves the ball.
So in real life, I think this game, I think obviously will be much more competitive, but I think it's going to be honestly a toss-up. I think both teams are very evenly matched, and I think kind of the biggest differentiating factor here is going to be home field advantage. Obviously, Death Valley is very hard to play in, and I think especially being week 1. I think I have to give the nod to the Clemson Tigers overall to win this game. I don't know if this overall will be a good gauge on how either of their seasons are going to go. I'm kind of looking back at that Texas A&M Notre Dame game from last year where maybe some incorrect assumptions were made about both teams in that game. But
And the punt team.
I don't know. I really like the Clemson Tigers this year. I think they should absolutely be in discussion to be one of the top 5 teams throughout the year. And in terms of championship potential, I really think they're absolutely in the top 5, if not even higher than that. The LSU Tigers, for me, I think they need to prove a little bit more to me. Again, I know I'm very much in the minority here, but Garrett Nussmeier, to me, I don't know. I think overall the team around him is good enough where he doesn't have to be a Joe Burrow type. But I don't know. It's if he has to put the team on his back consistently, I don't know if I love that for them. Let me try to get out of the pocket a little bit.
Scrambling, now he'll make the throw.
Great play.
Can't hold on. Good defensive play, brings up a 4th down. The Tigers will bring their punt team onto the field. And this will be fair call.
I also just think, given the, obviously the
First play of this drive now.
ACC isn't as deep as the SEC is this year. However, the Clemson Tigers, they have a really hard game to kick off the year, and then they have a really good, really tough game to end the year. Obviously, playing at South Carolina to finish the season.
They didn't lose anything, so it wasn't a negative play, but this kind of play's got to be able to
And
get down the
I would much rather be playing South Carolina early on in the season this year, just because they aren't going to have the same veteran presence that they had last year. So they have a lot of younger guys, not freshmen, but they'll be playing a lot of sophomores. Man, get them on the ground. So I think, especially by the end of November, I think the Gamecocks will be extremely dangerous, and especially way more dangerous than the first week of the season.
You make the tackle, but the game moves the ball to the 28. They bring it down, but the veteran quarterback shows off that trademark arm strength. This LSU offense is moving quickly down the field. Here comes a 1st down pass attempt. Grab down the middle. It's Anderson. They bring him down to the 18. The offense set up in the red zone with a 1st down.
Also, in the comments, if you're watching this, go ahead and let me know which game do you want to see me do next while we just kind of hang out, talk college football while we're playing college football. I just kind of want this to be a cool hangout session, just like if you were hanging out with a friend, playing college football, talking college football. So some other week 1 matchups that I plan on doing before the season starts. I definitely want to do the South Carolina going to Virginia Tech. Shane Beamer going back to the house that his dad built, Frank Beamer. And obviously I want to see the Sandman intro at Virginia Tech. And I think that'll be a really good game. I don't want to give away too many of my opinions there. You'll have to watch that video. Obviously, we have Texas at Ohio State. We have Miami and Notre Dame. That'll be a good game. I even think Syracuse-Tennessee will be an interesting game. It doesn't have the same star potential as these games will be, but I think it will be a very competitive game. And I really have a soft spot for Syracuse. I really like their head coach. His name is eluding me right now, but and then I think it'll be interesting to see how Tennessee responds to kind of a tumultuous offseason with the whole Nico Iamaleava situation, and their starting quarterback has only been there since end of April, beginning of May. So I think Tennessee's season is going to be a big test in resiliency. But it doesn't seem to have affected recruiting too much. They're still pulling elite recruits and stuff. But speaking of recruits, I don't know if you guys saw, but Syracuse pulled a star wide receiver out of South Florida. Again, his name is eluding me, but very talented wide receiver out of Miami that they were able to steal from the Hurricanes, steal from the Gators. So I think Syracuse very much could be on the up and up. I'm getting really too aggressive with these, just trying to move the ball down the field.
hard in these late game situations when you're trailing by this much to try to get the ball downfield.
And then week 0, we'll have Kansas State, Iowa State Farmageddon in Dublin, Ireland. I believe that's August 23rd. That'd be a very, very entertaining game. Obviously the game in Dublin to kick off last season was extremely entertaining with Florida State losing to Georgia Tech. I like the trying to increase the international footprint of the sport. Oh, we have Florida State, Alabama as well, week 1. That'll be a really entertaining game, especially with all the crap that Tommy Castellanos has been talking on the internet and in interviews, and doubling down and tripling down on his confidence that the Seminoles won't have a problem with the Tide. Oh, yep, that's a pick 6. I'm glad I finally threw a touchdown this game, just to the wrong team.
Pick 6 could be a game changer.
Great job here by the defense coming up with yet another play. Boy, they are just pouring it on today, dominating in every phase.
And the kick is up and good. They tack on a point to their lead. Looks like a man is down on the field after the last play, so we'll take a timeout. So it'll be a touchback. Ball spotted at the 25.
Let's see, who else do we have to kick off the year?
First play of the drive now from the 25. First down, looking to throw the football. Let's it go quickly. Oh, what a grab! Tackle's made, but not before he makes the 43-yard line. This drive is going now. And the Tigers.
If you're not familiar with the Clemson wide receivers, go ahead and check out their highlight reels online. They are extremely entertaining to watch. And it's just, like I said earlier, it's just great to see. It's something that we haven't seen from them in a long time, that we obviously saw last decade when they were winning championships.
Here we are in the fourth quarter. They've done a nice job of taking the run game completely away, making it a lot easier.
He'll take a deep shot. And it's hauled in way downfield.
I'd love to score a touchdown. I really don't want to lose this game 32-0.
Clemson getting set with a first and 10 now.
Let's try a stick and nod.
Looking to throw it from the red zone. The pass rush closing in. They tackle him. Looks like it's going to be just short of the marker, inches away.
Hey, if you're not going to account for a quarterback,
As I do these videos more, I need to get better at scrambling with the quarterback. This is not usually my play style, and I'm playing with all these teams that have great scrambling quarterbacks. And for some reason, growing up, I just never did that.
hey, it's not a lot, but it's enough to get.
I like this branch return route, or branch return play. Should get someone open here.
To the air, it's Klubnik.
Man, great play by Weeks there.
Complete, brings up second down.
Now, the passing game just hasn't been consistent today. It's plain and simple. They might not quite be out of it yet, but they have to start connecting soon, or this one will be over.
Defense flies in. They make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Interesting call here, Chris, with this screen pass in the fourth quarter late in the game. I think they're expecting the defense to get upfield on the pass rush, but give the defense all the credit. Recognizing it, almost really anticipating that this screen was coming, and then rallying to the ball.
Yeah, I'm going for it. I'm not
7-yard gain.
not settling for a field goal just to get points on the board.
Down late, they'll keep the offense on the field, trying to chip away at this. He's got
Touchdown.
enough for a first down. And he makes the catch. Touchdown, Clemson.
I love the fact they didn't give up today. This has not been a great game for them, but the fact that they're still fighting late says a lot about the character of this football team.
Automatic on the PAT. Got momentum after scoring that touchdown. Now the kickoff team out there to kick it away.
I'm just looking up what other week 1 matchups we have that'll be interesting to watch. I think Auburn Baylor is a really good one. I knew Georgia Tech had one. They were playing at Colorado. I think that'll be really interesting to see just how what no one's really talking about Colorado this offseason, I feel like, especially since they were largely at the center of the college football world over the last 2 years with Travis Hunter and Shadur Sanders. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what they have and honestly where Georgia Tech's at. I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia Tech is competing for the ACC this year. I think they have a lot of potential. Like they could really make some waves, take advantage of a weaker ACC. I don't know if I'm as high on Duke as everyone else is. Obviously getting Darian Mensah from the transfer portal out of Tulane. They'll have great quarterback play. I just don't know if they have the weapons around him. They do have a weaker schedule. And then North Carolina plays someone as well. Who does North Carolina play? I believe TCU, or is that week 2?
First down, looking for more now. They've got him down, but the offense gets the first down they needed to just run the clock out. Fresh set of downs for the offense. First down. Well, this was a stunner.
I think Washington, Colorado State will be an entertaining game. Utah, UCLA, and yeah, North Carolina does open up the season against TCU. I think that'd be a great game. It'll be really interesting to see what the Tar Heels have. Obviously, Bill Belichick and getting Gio Lopez out of the transfer portal. And yeah. Cool. So that wraps up today's game. Obviously, I'm not as great in the video game as I think it will be in real life. And just to recap, I think the Clemson Tigers overall will win the game. I think the final score is going to be something like a 32-28 with the Tigers winning. Largely going to be a toss-up game and I'm just giving the nod to the Tigers. To the Clemson Tigers, just because of the home field advantage being week 1. I think that home field advantage is extra big week 1, just to kind of help get the team into a groove and kind of knock off the rest of the offseason. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss the next time I go live. I'll definitely be doing this at least once a week, especially as we get closer to the season, and just with so many matchups going into week 1, I'll want to play a lot of these in the video game and just hang out and talk ball. Cool. My name is Zach. Thank you for watching the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media, and I'll catch you in the next one.